Grinders, NBA DFS conversation. 2 hours starts now, taking y'all straight up the lock. The Crunch Time crew comes in 6:15-ish. You got Kevin Roth holding it down, holding the show down, steering that ship. I believe it's TJ Zwarych when it comes to a tournament perspective. And you got the great Andy Means. Andy Means from such things as making shots in the NCAA tournament, for in case the line's like 50 points or something like that, making yourself some money back in the day. And, of course, the core plays, NBA specialist, myself, and Stevie TPFL. You know him from such things as the Morning Grind and NASCAR. And you know what else? I meant to actually ask you this, but my computer was actually acting all funky, so we didn't have a chance to even talk about it. Now on Sirius, you were your first hosting gig this weekend. You joined the RotoGrinders Sirius team on the weekend. How did that go, Stevie? And welcome to the show. What's up? How are things in your world?
I mean, it went great. My favorite tournament play when we did the show Saturday was Bones Highland, and he sucked out and had a huge fourth quarter. So fit right in to the Sirius XM crowd. So no, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I've been doing XM for years on other stuff, but found some time to help out doing the RotoGrinders show. So I'll be on more frequently now and having some fun. I'm sure we'll cross paths eventually on it. And we tend to cross paths on Mondays when it comes to GrindersLive. So always fun to chat some NBA. Hopefully soon some baseball with you, my friend.
Yeah, I saw your tweet. You're very excited about baseball season. All of us are very excited about baseball season.
Dean,
it's so weird how that works. Oh, go ahead.
Finished the expert survey today. I was like, man, I'm getting ahead on my work today. And then the news came out about Luka. Went in, edited everything. Got done editing everything with Luka. The Embiid news came out. Got done editing everything with the Embiid news, and Giannis news came out. Or maybe it was Giannis, then Embiid. Anyway, I was very frustrated when I sent that tweet earlier. This slate went from like awesome to like who has the best value plays today.
It's really straightforward, this slate, and like we could still get more stuff opening up, obviously, but running some optimals and like there's some really strong plays and trying to figure out who the best big spend is as well. If Brunson doesn't go, then quickly becomes phenomenal as well. Like you said, Milwaukee, I think they were at one time like a 17-point favorite in Detroit, which is outrageous. Like a 17-point favorite on the road. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I feel like I've never seen that before. And the NBA is 17-point favorite on the road. I assume that line has since closed with and now Drew Holiday is out, and I wouldn't be shocked if Middleton doesn't play. As of right now, Middleton looks like a fabulous play, obviously, last man standing. Bobby Portis as well. Other pieces from Milwaukee, whoever gets to get their punches in on the Pistons. A lot more information we're still waiting for. Luka, the weird thing, they rescinded his 16th foul, so he's no longer suspended. You want to start your tinfoil hat stuff with that one? I don't know. They tend to not get overturned, but I guess on further review, they want Luka in the play-in nonsense, and currently Dallas is outside the play-in nonsense. I assume they'd want them in there as opposed to like New Orleans or OKC. Big NBA, that is. That's when I say they, that's what I'm talking about. Big NBA. But it's just kind of interesting that they still might lose because they've lost back-to-back games versus Charlotte, which is just embarrassing. Tonight they face Indiana. We'll see if Halliburton plays. We'll see if Miles Turner plays. That is a 7:00 game, so that is at least some news clarity we'll get throughout the show. Joel Embiid is scared. He's hurt too, apparently. He's been playing hurt, but talks about him resting one of these days. I don't know why they picked this one of all days. They picked the one guy that, you don't want to mess with the MVP narrative. Again, tinfoil hat stuff. They couldn't have arrested him versus Phoenix this weekend. They couldn't have done that, Stevie. Couldn't have done that.
I mean, if you look at the first game that Embiid had against Jokic, he kind of sent a message in that game. 47, 48 actual points. So I think Embiid would, like, just looking at like how much he's played and stuff, I think he'd want to play in this game. I think that like maybe the calf is really giving him trouble. Is like that's the only thing I got. That's the other, because Embiid's
why
a gamer,
play on the
man.
back-to-back versus Phoenix? That's possibly true. And all these guys are beat up to various degrees at this point in the season. But then, and they even said like one of these days I'm going to get a day. Well, why would they pick this one? They rest them on the back half of back-to-back and travel versus Phoenix. But but they don't map this stuff out and like look at the schedule and know what's coming. Just asking.
And they're trying to win games. They don't. I mean, they care if he wins the MVP, but they're not. They're not as concerned with him winning the MVP as winning the championship.
Him winning MVP is kind of their championship, though. Let's be honest. They're not going all the way this year.
You don't think Philly has a chance?
Yeah, I mean, a puncher's chance, maybe. I suppose.
Who do you think comes out of the East?
It's either Milwaukee or Boston.
All right.
Who do you think's coming out of the East?
I think. No, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think Philadelphia or Cleveland wouldn't shock me if they came out of the East. Like, I think Cleveland is sneaky good.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so it wouldn't shock me if like the Cavs come out of the East. I mean, flip a coin who's coming out of the West. I have no idea who's coming out of the West.
It is wide open in the West for sure. Jared in chat. What's up, chat? Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all the things. It helps us keep the lights on, let you know when our shows are coming out. Of course, we mentioned baseball Thursday, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure going to be a part of that, but I'm sure going to be a part of some shows. I'll be here. I think Cardi and Cheese will be here, taking y'all straight up to first pitch. I was going to say lock, but like that's one of the beautiful things about baseball. There's some things you can complain about. Absolutely ridiculous umpiring in spring training. I saw that JT Realmuto play over today. Just insanity. Go on the Twitter, Stevie. I'm not sure if you caught that. The ejection of the JT Realmuto was absurd. This umpire is just be thrown out of the of course, the union's too strong. They won't throw anybody out. Angel Hernandez has been there for 90 years, but no time for my soapbox. Jared saying, watch out for my Wolves. I'm like, okay. I mean, they're like the ninth best team in the West. The West is really, really strong. So, and they're getting healthier, I suppose. No Cat tonight. He's resting in the back half of back-to-back. And shout out to FAU. Yeah, Taylor saying FAU greater than UCF. We could possibly have a University of Miami versus FAU final for the national championship. And good Lord, nobody cares in South Florida, just so you know. They care about football here. They do not care. I mean, they're going to play along and pretend because everybody likes a winner and a bandwagon and all that. But there you go. My sister went to FAU. Didn't know the mascot, just for the record. I asked her the other day. Didn't know. How do you go to a school and not know the mascot for the school? How does that happen, Stevie?
I don't know, because it would be everywhere. Like, it would literally, like, the Florida Gator is everywhere on campus. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how you pulled that one off, but I mean,
wild,
they're like within an hour. FAU and like University of Miami are within like an hour of each other. So that could potentially be really cool. March Madness has been wild. You know, it's been a fun watch. Outside of the Gonzaga game the other night, UConn just that wasn't fun to watch.
I didn't watch it, but I saw they got mollywopped, right? 30-point spread or something like that, something outrageous.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, and then I had a NASCAR show, and I was getting updated during the show about the score, and it wasn't pretty.
How are the NASCAR streets doing these days?
Dude, we're crushing. We're off to this is one of the strongest starts I've ever had. I think we're up 35 units betting. I think we've had every week except for at least one person win at least 15 grand. So it's been a really, really strong start to the NASCAR season. So hoping to keep it rolling. We have a little bit more predictable track this weekend in Richmond. And I'm pumped. Like I got onto some stuff when it, happened this off season and got onto it, and I'm kind of riding it right now, and it's working.
Yeah. So the people know, I assume they know, but a couple people out there might not be aware. You got to go to you for all things NASCAR. You mentioned betting. Are you talking about? I know you write stuff up, some stuff up for scores and odds. A part of your NASCAR package, do you also get bets, or how does that work? Do you kind of divvy them up to put the same things in both spots? Where will I get your NASCAR?
No, I try to do a lot of both. There's some stuff that I add late that I'm not able to. So I think we're up like 17 or 18 units on scores and odds, and then in the NASCAR like package where everything I'm tracking, it's like 35 units.
All right, sweet. There you go. Hit up Stevie for any NASCAR needs you may have. Tonight, it's the association, it's the NBA. Lots of it's
really
wild
quick,
and it's wide open.
Dean,
yeah, go ahead.
No, just really quick. I just I even like talking about this is hard, but just sending like thoughts and prayers to the families in Nashville. Like, we are based out of Nashville as a RotoGrinders company. What happened today with the school shootings, I have 3 kids. I have young ones, and like, I'm trying not to get emotional. scary, and just thoughts and prayers to those families in Nashville, because I can't imagine it, dude. I can't imagine it.
Yes, I from what I saw that story, it was awful, and
Yep.
but this is obviously what we do here is so secondary and not nearly as meaningful to lots of other things in life. Healthy distraction, I suppose, for an hour or so, talking some basketball. Anything you want to say as far as the overview, the screenshot, as far as this slate? What are we looking at again? Tons of players being out is the big deal. Embiid being out. Harden's coming back tonight for Philadelphia. Marketing may come back tonight. We're expecting Fox to play for Sacramento. I mean, running some optimal, Stevie. I don't know how long ago you ran them, but I ran them right before the show, basically. And we're looking at a lot of bucks. And again, somebody in the chat was saying that Middleton is in. I know he's in, but I'm just saying there's a chance. Wouldn't be shocked if he saw all of a sudden, they gave him a body part out of nowhere just to kind of like rule him out because, again, it's the Pistons. They don't really need him. And they're in the middle, I think, of like 5 and 7, I want to say. So, again, he's certainly assumed to be in right now, but goofy stuff can still happen. The Bucks are popping. Portland is still in the NBA. They've not been kicked out just yet. And, they're hitting the sim button this season. Their entire starting lineup essentially not playing. They're still really, really cheap. We're not sure if Watford's going to play. He got hurt last night, came back, and they pulled him back again. But, yeah, there's a lot of injuries on the Portland side. It's a late game as well. We saw Nasir Little smashing off the bench, and he ended up starting the second half for the injured Watford. But lots to keep our eyes on. A lot of bucks as of right now. Javon Carter looks like a really solid value play. If Brunson doesn't go, quickly would emerge. Nice matchup against Houston. Lots to say here, Stevie. We're going to dig in and break it down game by game. But before we do that, I'm curious what your overview is.
Yeah, I mean, like the Bucks still want to win. They're only one game up currently on the Celtics, so like they still want to win. So the fact that like they're sitting Drew and Giannis, I think Middleton plays normal minutes for what it's worth. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. I think the Bucks are, I mean, now they're amazing. I hated them this morning. I didn't want to play any of them. So thoughts changed 100% on that. But yeah, I mean, overall, like Portland, like you said, they're really invested in the future of a lot of these guys outside of Grant. Grant's on a 1 year, like he's at the end of the year, he's done. But like Simons and Nurkic and Lillard and all these guys, they're like multi-years. So shutting them down for the season when you're out of the playoffs, like you can't really fault them for that. And like you mentioned, Watford left last night. He's doubtful. He's not going to play.
Yeah.
So Little started second half, assuming Little starts this game. Little's a guy that they want to see kind of get minutes down the stretch here. This is a guy that has a ton of promise and just waiting for him to show up in the NBA, really. Been dealing with injuries since he was drafted, it seems like. But I think it's great. I think that this slate, I don't know, man. I like this slate so much. The only reason that I still have a somewhat like I'm sitting up and I'm excited about this slate somewhat is because of Devin Booker. I don't think anybody's going to play Devin Booker tonight. You mentioned like, who am I spending up for? And I don't think anyone is spending up for Booker looking at his like ownership projections everywhere. So maybe that's where I get excited. Because like I had a ton of interest in Kyrie and then I had a ton of interest in Embiid and my whole lineup that if I would have made a lineup this morning, never would have made it past noon today. So it's definitely an interesting slate when it comes to that kind of stuff.
See Mark with a comment in chat saying 7,400, 26 to 28 minutes. No thanks on Middleton. Well, we're projecting Middleton for 32 minutes, a median projection for what it's worth, and it certainly could be 26 to 28 minutes. Let's just pretend it's 28 minutes, right? And let's pretend he's getting his average fantasy points when we have Holiday and Giannis out. Middleton, in 122 minutes, small sample size, yada, yada, has a 34% usage, which is massive. What does that spike up? 7.4% as far as the usage. His fantasy points per minute is 1.51, right? So let's just assume that number is correct. I know larger sample, you get a more refined number. There's, some variance in there, but 1.51 at 28 minutes, that's 42 fantasy points. I went to UCF. I think that's about right. And now, they played Detroit. Let's get a couple more points with the Detroit bump. So now we're talking about 44 fantasy points as a median projection. And that's if he plays 28 minutes, right? Yeah. I don't know why you just cross out Middleton is what I'm getting at. We're giving him 32 minutes for the record and 52 fantasy points on DK. Yeah, like I understand that this could be a full-on mollywop, drink again, chat. Yeah, I don't know if you know the game now, Stevie.
All right, we got a new game. I'm in.
Every time I'm trying to make mollywop my own personal fetch. It's my thing. It's my new thing. Yeah, we don't know that this is going to be a blowout, and we've seen weirder things. You assume 15-point game, it's going to blow out. That's not necessarily true. And they go by 30. That can happen too. But the Pistons, those guys get paychecks too. They get paid. They're professionals as well. Now Mark's changing the conversation to ownership. That's a better conversation. It's a better angle, Mark, and we'll have that conversation because he is currently present. Yeah, go ahead.
I do tend to love a game, so I'm in. I like. All right. Now my game is to try to make Dean say it. What are we setting the over under? 5.5?
Well, I mean, I don't want to set the line because I feel like I can influence it pretty heavily.
Right, chat, help me out. I know you guys are hanging out on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. Set the line. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let the YouTube chat do it.
I'm just gonna smash the over.
Just really quick to go back to Middleton. The last time both of these two guys sat was March 7th against the Magic. Middleton played 30 minutes. He scored 48 fantasy points on 9 shot attempts.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think he had 14 free throws, but still.
Yeah. I just get a flashback of Al Michaels, famously, maybe 10 years ago in the Super Bowl. He was talking about how there was some sort, in the Super Bowl, you can bet on everything. And there was a bet on if he would say Zeke Elliott. I can't remember what it was. There's a certain player. No, you know what it was? It was the Deflategate. And he went on the Super Bowl. This is amazing. And you can wager real American dollars in sports books and these things. And he's like, yeah, there was a number of times, went over under how many times he would say Deflategate. And he referenced that, and then he goes, Deflategate, 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 and just moved on. It was amazing. Just incredible stuff. Just smash the over, Al Michaels. Hold on, wait, what? Just plays in 2 high altitude cities. Oh, we got to get Kevin Roth to weigh in. Thomas and Chad talking about the altitude that Milwaukee plays in. Oh, is this okay? He's talking about the back-to-back, I think, of playing in Utah and Denver. There's residual to that after that happens. I don't know I've not run the numbers on that.
Middleton didn't play one of those games, so he only played in one. So what's the now Thomas, we're going to need you to give us the thought on just one of those cities because Middleton didn't play in one of them.
It's such a specific thing to call me a moron for. You morons don't realize they just played in 2 games with the high. I mean, we have projections for a lot of things, but I don't really know how to quantify playing in Denver and then playing in Utah and then playing a couple days later. But fair enough. Okay, interesting. Well, actually, anything else before we dive into the old game by game deal?
No, I mean listen, it's all fun. Thomas, you can call Dean whatever. We're not gonna. To
be fair, it was plural. It's morons. So you're.
No, he wasn't calling me a moron. No chance.
I think it was. I mean,
no one that has been around for 10 plus years is gonna call me a moron. Come on, man.
All right, Milwaukee, Detroit, 227 is the total. Detroit here, 13-point dog at home. 2 7 o'clock games. This is one of the 2 7 o'clock games. This is the first one we're talking about. Again, as of right now, no Giannis, no Holiday, other pieces as far as Milwaukee being out. That's basically it. Myers Leonard is not available. Not a big deal. Crowder and Dragic are available. Detroit, they've been a mess for a while. No beef stew. It's been the way it's been for a long time with Isaiah Stewart. Bogdanovich, we're probably never going to see him again. Disappearing on us like Kaiser Soze. Alec Burks is out. Corey Joseph is ill, so he's questionable. But yeah, I mean the Milwaukee side is pretty interesting. Most of the Detroit guys, the prices have adjusted to their situation, because they've been like this for a while, basically playing with the skeleton crew of 9 or 10 guys. Let's talk about Milwaukee, and again, it's really worth bringing up Middleton because he is seeing a 48% ownership, and if you want to make the argument you want to get under that because of blowout concerns, sure. That I can hear, or just it's too high and there's different routes and the slate's really good. What is your current stance as far as Middleton? 48% over, under. I think you run 3 lineups, so you can have 1, you can have 2, you can have 3, a 0. Obviously, you have the reserve the right to change, but Middleton and then other guys on Milwaukee as well are interesting. It's not just him, but Portis looks really interesting. 40% per value Portis on DK is our current projection. Devon Carter, one of the best dollar for dollar plays, presuming he draws to start, playing 32 minutes at 3.4K, 31-point projection. Yeah, even Lopez and Allen, Jingle and Joe off the bench is playable. And how much Milwaukee is too much Milwaukee? Because I think I saw $4 in the first FanDuel Optimal, and I think that's too many. I think I would cut it off at 3. You tell me.
So playing one lineup tonight, it's March NBA. It's end of March NBA. So definitely in the one lineup brigade. Right now I have Middleton. The ownership scares me a little bit, but again, I'm playing Devin Booker. He's not projected for a lot of ownership. We'll talk about him in a few minutes. So I don't necessarily have to worry about playing Middleton because I don't know how many other people are going to be playing Middleton and Booker. There's another guy that I like a lot in the 7:30 game that's projecting for a little low ownership as well. So I can play Middleton and I can play Portis. I can play Carter because the rest of my team is not getting a lot of ownership outside of, a couple Portland players. So I have a lot of interest in this spot for Bobby Portis in large field tournaments. I don't hate the idea of maybe running some Brook Lopez, but the only concern with Brook Lopez is if the game gets out of hand, he's one of the first guys off the floor. And you don't have to worry about that as much with Portis and Carter, but Middleton and Lopez are both the same. Game starts to get out of hand, you're not seeing these guys come out and play a few minutes in the fourth quarter. So that's my concern when it comes to Brook Lopez. The spot is fantastic, and we've taken Embiid off the slate, who's one of the best, if not the best center play on the slate. So, and, there's some value centers that are going to get some ownership in some games that we're going to talk about. So I think Brook Lopez, we're having projected around 20%. Maybe comes in lower than that. People don't like playing Brook Lopez anyway. So I could see this being a Brook Lopez smash slate. But to answer your question, I don't think I would have more than $3 because if the game gets out of hand, I think could see them getting off.
I can also see make it. Look, Milwaukee's got 13 guys. It's not like they're a thin roster. They're not playing with 8 or 9 available players. There's some of these guys will get DNP CDs unless things really get goofy. But the point is that it's not that these guys are forced to play huge minutes, right? I mean, yeah. Connaughton and Ingles and Crowder and Dragic and Matthews and Antetokounmpo, Thanasis, that is. There's Wendell Wigginton. There's a lot. There's a lot of other players that are available to play if mopping up ensues, and I can see the minutes getting a little bit tighter than they normally would be on the Milwaukee side. Doesn't mean they're still not useful, but I would take the under on 32 Middleton minutes. I know it's our current projection. I think too many things can go the wrong direction, and I would take under 32. But if he still can get there at 29 or 28. We just did the math there. Detroit, any runbacks for me? I think the best play. I mean, I guess Jalen Duran. I suppose you can tell yourself a story. Not a good matchup, obviously, historically against Milwaukee on the inside. Duran's not a guy that's going to mess on the outside. Basically chopping those 48 center minutes with James Wiseman. The other one I can tell a story about is Jaden Ivey, but I don't think it's very necessary. And by the way, to your point, you're talking about Booker, let's just jump to there for a second because it's relevant to the conversation. He's projected to be 6% owned. Now, if that's the guy you're gonna get, you can be totally chalky around it, but you absolutely need Booker to get there. He's got to smash. If he doesn't smash, forget it. Go to bed. But this isn't me pat myself on the back, but last night I had a very chalky lineup, but I had Jared Allen at 4%, and that got there. I think it was not in any huge tournaments, unfortunately. I put it in the wrong one, but it was finishing first or second in some contests. But that's that guy that's 5% owned, 10% owned becomes that much more important. But that's the thing. If you're playing Booker, then all of a sudden you can embrace the chalk, and it's really, really good chalk. Talk about Detroit, Stevie. Any runbacks for the Pistons?
Just one other quick thing about Middleton. When you look at his price range on DraftKings, who do you pivot off of him? He's 7,700. If you just go to forward only,
let's see.
DeRozan's 86, Olynyk is 71, Horton Tucker's 7K, Levine is 8,700. That's just the problem. Why it's so hard for me to get off Middleton with these guys out is because you really don't have a pivot. You have to almost go up to a Brandon Ingram at 8,900 and you worry about that game, staying close too.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it doesn't have to be a direct pivot. It could be like a 2v2 or a 3v3, but I understand the question you're asking. There isn't a clear and obvious direct pivot, though, 100%. The best
Yeah,
one, like you
that's just
said, is
why he's
probably
so
Ingram. But
strong in his price range and why he projects for so much ownership. But I mean, he could have a bad game and still be very usable. As far as your question is like the Detroit player, my initial answer is like nobody. If you're playing large field tournaments and not playing single entry tournaments like me, large field tournaments, you could take some shots here on Hayes, Bagley, Livers, maybe Duran, and just know that like maybe Detroit rolls these guys out there. Yeah, that's really it. I don't have a ton of
yeah,
interest in Detroit.
if this game blows out, I assume Jalen Duran, we've seen it before. Like if it's a 20-point game, I think he still closes. I think he's secure. I think
They
he's
got
blowout
crushed
proof.
the other night, and Ivy played like 40 minutes or something.
Well, we saw Bagley play 41 minutes. He had a negative 30 and they lost by 30 points.
They don't
And like,
care.
well, they've locked in, people are going to say tanking. They've locked in their tanking spot. They won. They're not moving anywhere. They maxed out their percentage as far as ping pong balls. And they traded for Bagley, and I guess they want to see what they have in him and trying different combinations. And it's probably not going to work, but like, why not? What else are you going to do? Give Corey Joseph a bunch of minutes? What's the point of that? Okay, let's move on. Dallas, Indiana, 238.5 is the total. Indiana's a 4-point dog here. We did have Luka out earlier. Now he's back in. The only issue as far as Dallas now is Maxi Kleber. Maxi Kleber is questionable. The Indiana side, they're kind of mucking around. They're jockeying for position with your Magic, the Blazers. It's really tough for your Magic to compete with what the Blazers are doing right now. It's really hard. Orlando 32-43, Portland 32-42, Indiana 33-42, Washington 33-42. That's where the real tanking's going on, for the record. Like between 5 and 8 and 9, as far as that's the real tanking nonsense this year. It's not Detroit, Houston, and San Antonio. That stuff's already settled. So with that in mind, do we expect Halliburton to play? Do we expect Miles Turner to play? They already ruled out Duarte. They already ruled out Buddy Hield. And what's the routes, if then?
Yeah, ankle sprain for Halliburton, but he played through it the other night. He played 30 minutes or something through it. I don't see. I think they're going to be out, and I think we just got an alert that they're out. Halliburton and Miles Turner both out, so that makes this a lot easier. That just, man, the slate just keeps changing, right? Like there's so much value on this slate, it's insane. Mm-hmm. I love LeVert, right? No, why was I thinking LeVert?
I don't know. TJ McConnell, maybe you're considering?
No, Mathurin was someone I already liked a lot, but LeVert back in the day, man. Just kidding. McConnell, Numhard, Neesmith, Jalen Smith, Mathurin, all those guys, man.
So we're probably going to get who do we have drawn the start here? Who are we expecting? Turner was just ruled out as well as they're both ruled out, right?
They're both ruled out. Yep. We just got the alert from the RotoGrinders app.
So
I know LeVert used to be a pacer. I'm just
one of these
guys,
bigs.
Anybody that missed the start of the show totally missed the Thomas thing, and I'm just messing with him now. That's all.
So, like, one of these bigs is going to look really good projection wise, depending on who starts. We're currently projecting. We already have it in there. We're expecting Nembhard, Mathurin, Nawara, Naismith, and Isaiah Jackson. Looks like he's center and center only, if I'm not mistaken. Power forward on FanDuel 5'6", center on DK 3'9". Okay. McConnell 5'1" on DK. That looks pretty interesting. We probably have a what if. I was looking to see it earlier, but they're usually coming around 5 o'clock or so. So either they're updating the projections now, or I can find a what if. I assume they had one on this. They kind of have an if then scenario. Michael Porter Jr., Walker Kessler, Jalen Brunson, Alex Caruso. We don't have one in Indiana, but we'll get an update in projections shortly. I imagine McConnell is going to look pretty good, even though he's coming off the bench. And we know Dallas has been really bad defensively, right? I wonder if Kleber is going to play. That'll affect, I guess, Wood to some extent. That'll hurt their defense a little bit, make it even easier on the interior. They're really vulnerable inside, especially if Kleber doesn't go. That inside is going to be, Isaiah Jackson is going to be like a really good play, assuming he starts. Maybe we get Brissett. but I think it's going to be Jackson. I think that's a good guess, and he's going to be projection-wise pretty good. And that's the thing, though, Stevie. There's going to be so much good stuff. Also, I don't know how much 7 o'clock players I want to lock up is the other conversation. Like more stuff to fall. We got Portland later on in the slate with Watford being ruled out. Portland looks really interesting. They're going to get mollywopped against New Orleans. There it is. 13-point dogs or so, but they're super thin as far as bodies. I think there's 10 officially. So minutes are pretty locked in for guys like Little and Eubanks and Sharp.
But really quick, Dean, I know I don't like locking in a lot of 7 o'clock players either, but if you look at the Indiana value now and the Milwaukee value that we have, they're getting Detroit and Dallas, two of the worst defensive teams, where the Portland value is getting a very tough Pelicans defense. Pelicans defense is 6th in defensive rating this season. So I think the argument actually might be different now that we got this Pacers news. I think my expert survey today, I had Portland as my highest owned team. I think I'm going to change that to Milwaukee.
For the 7th time, you're changing the expert survey.
I'm telling you, man, it's been a roller coaster today. I love my job.
That's the world's smallest violin playing for us. Things could be a lot worse, right? But
I'm not complaining. It's just, man, it was frustrating today for sure.
Once you put down the pen in basketball, everything changes. I'm always afraid to start writing early for basketball because I know I'm just gonna muck it and throw it away.
That's what I do every day. I wait till 1:30 when the injury report comes out, and I got ahead today, and it was haha.
Yeah, lesson learned. Delay as long as possible. I want to see what projections do. Yeah, we see Michael in chat talking about Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith's another guy because just fantasy point per minute stuff as far as these Indiana big men, they're all pretty good, right? Depending on how many minutes they're going to grab, but. We have Isaiah Jackson in the year is 1.08 DK points per minute, 1.17 FanDuel, which is pretty solid. I don't have Jalen Smith up in front of me. I think we just didn't prioritize. He didn't even make the grind down. They put 11 guys in there, and that's not in there. I'd have to go to the court IQ, but I'm pretty sure he's a pretty good fantasy point minute player as well. My phone, my watch is dinging. So does that mean there's more information dropping? I have the notifications on. Is there more stuff coming down on us here?
Nothing yet.
Kyle Kuzma's out tomorrow. We don't care about tomorrow.
Yeah,
as is Bradley Beal. Turner and Halliburton being out.
Very small sample size with Turner, Hield, Halliburton, and Duarte off the floor. For what it's worth, Nwora, Smith, McConnell, Jackson, all over a fantasy point per minute. Brissett at 0.84. Very, very small sample size though. Nobody over 80 minutes.
What do you need every player to get on your team? Even a 3K player, there's sometimes when the slate has no value. It's oh man, if this 3K player can just get me 20, it opens up everything. And now I get the players I want. 20 is worthless at 3K tonight. I assume you agree. What is not worthless? What does a 3K guy have to get? 28?
I think you're shooting for 30 on this slate. There's so much value. Man, I think this makes me like Jordan Nwora a lot for what it's worth.
Yeah. I'm curious what our projection team's going to do, and that'll update shortly. Maybe we'll walk back on Indiana. We can speculate all we want right now, but I want to see the numbers in front of us too. And somebody who's actively right now staring at it and figuring out the minutes, figuring out the rotation. So we'll get that update soon. How about the other side? Dallas, they've been scuffling. Luka, did the hokey pokey. He's back in now. Was suspended. Now he's back. Awesome matchup, of course, against Indiana here. You're going to have the money for Luka. That's not hard. You can certainly find it. He has to put up 65, right? 60 at 12K is not going to hurt you, but I don't think that really helps a ton, right? Your thoughts as far as Luka, Kyrie, and the rest of the Mavs?
So if Maxey sits, Indiana is one of the worst teams in the league against bigs. Is this a spot where we potentially take some shots on Christian Wood?
Large field,
and probably need to run more than 20 lineups, I think. But he would be in my player pool, very low ownership. I think all this value coming out is going to bump up the projected ownership for Luka. He wasn't hurt. He was going to be suspended for a tech.
He's just cursing out refs.
Yeah, he's come back and he's played 41, 37, and 40 minutes in the 3 games. So he's fine. He has over 60 fantasy points. Yeah, I mean, I think Luka's ownership is going to go up, and I don't think he's necessarily a bad play.
No.
This is definitely shaping up as like a stars and scrubs type of build day. So I could see Luka definitely making some lineups today.
We have a what if Kleber is out. If Maxey is out, Luka would get a projection. His wasn't move a ton. 55 DK points, 52 Fanduel, which, that's not a spectacular projection when you consider the salary. That's a medium projection. Of course, he can put up 80 points and nobody would be surprised. But the interesting one you kind of mentioned was Christian Wood. He's been priced up, but our projection would jump to about 25 minutes and 30 fantasy points. You mentioned Indiana being bad defensively. They're even worse when you take out Miles Turner. He's the only guy. He's the only actual rim protector they have. The likes of Isaiah Jackson and Brissett and whatever else, Smith, they're not going to lock anything. That Wood would just be feasting inside, assuming the key for him is to get on the court. We never really know about his minutes, but he'll become a little more solidified. We're giving him 25 minutes if Kleber does not go. So 30 DK, 30 FanDuel, which isn't, again, median score. That's not ideal for 6-7 or 7-4 as far as the asking price on FanDuel. Not good enough, but large field stuff, you can absolutely tell yourself a story. What about Kyrie?
Yeah, I mean, his usage goes down, but it's only like 1.5% when he's playing with Luka. He's just not shooting well right now. Like his shot just seems a little off. So I don't know. Like, is it the foot bothering him enough that he's just struggling a little bit? The discount is nice. I don't know if we necessarily need the salary today. Luka has a way higher ceiling, even at the higher price tag. So I don't know if I get to Kyrie today. I wouldn't talk you out of playing Kyrie today. Indiana is still going to put up a fight in this game. Dallas has been playing terrible, like you said. They just lost 2 games to Charlotte. Like, a team that doesn't want to win games and you're losing to them when you have to win games is kind of interesting. But yeah, I think large field tournaments, I could definitely take some shots on Kyrie. My question to you, Dean, I'm going to throw it back at you here real quick. Can you play Luka and Kyrie together?
Can you? I guess. Will I? Almost definitely not. Like, you're going to get 2 ceiling. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd set a rule, but I don't think I'm doing that. Like, what you're talking about, Luka's got to get like 70 and Kyrie's got to get like 55, 60. Like, that's certainly going to happen. Obviously, if you luck box in the overtime, sure, then you got a decent shot. You can never really predict OT, but I don't think I would do that. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's like
thought was
the
no.
worst idea.
I was just curious if you were thinking the same.
Let me see if we got an update as far as projections. I think we did on the Indiana side. Let's see what we have. Okay, so we're giving Nembhard 34 minutes, 28 points. Mathurin 32 minutes, 31 points. Nwora 40 at 4-9, 32 minutes, 31 points. And again, all these projections look pretty good. The one I want to see, McConnell 29-point projection and 26 minutes. Isaiah Jackson, a 28 fantasy point projection at 3-9, center and center only. Really, really strong projection. We're giving 23 fantasy points to Jalen Smith in 23 minutes. I feel like one of these Indiana guys at least is going to get there. Maybe even specifically, you can say one of these Indiana big men. If somehow Isaiah Jackson gets in foul trouble, then like Jalen Smith can step in. We're chopping those minutes 25-23, and we're giving 22 to Brissett. Brissett third amongst those 3, but like, would it be the most shocking thing in the world if he rises? And we're giving a few courtesy minutes to the old neck tat James Johnson. Do not play him. It is a revenge game, though, right? Didn't he play in Dallas? Cup of coffee, if nothing else. Yeah, Isaiah Jackson looks really good. It's just a matter of lineup construction and, the opportunity cost, et cetera, the usual thoughts. But as suspected, the Indiana guys look pretty good. I want to run some optimals and see how everything looks, but we also need to move on. Any thoughts beyond as far as this game, or shall we move on?
No, we can move on.
Houston, New York, 230.5 is the total. New York at home is a 14-point favorite here versus Houston. Big one here is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson being questionable. I did not see an if-then, but I can tell you with confidence, and Brunson doesn't go, that quickly would look really, really strong. And I'm not chasing the Quentin Grimes game. I got burned by that one over the weekend, and I was knocked out pretty quickly. He shot the lights out, and good for him. But he's not my favorite player on New York. But sure, he's in play, especially if we lose Brunson, who seems legit dinged as far as his hand. Houston fully healthy with the exception of Jayshawn Tate, who's dealing with a knee. I don't believe we're getting much ownership, if at all, on the Houston side. And again, New York seems pretty straightforward where you can play any of their stars, right? Of course, you can play Randall. Of course, you can play Brunson. And it really opens up if we lose Brunson and quickly would step in. Your thoughts, Houston, New York?
I mean, my initial thoughts is we have to wait on the Brunson news, which we should be getting soon. Definitely want to kind of pay attention to that news, but Mitchell Robinson is someone that no one's talking about today, kind of flying under the radar. This is another guy that I like more on DraftKings than on FanDuel. DraftKings, he's 48. FanDuel, he's 58, and you can play two bigs if you wanted to on DraftKings, where you can only really do it with one. So I think Mitch Rob is really interesting. Like, Houston is a team that you can definitely attack with bigs. He's someone that has been consistently getting like 25 plus fantasy points. So I think a guy like this in this type of matchup, if Brunson doesn't play, could potentially get over 30 fantasy points. No one playing him. I liked it a lot more, Dean. I'll be honest. I liked it a lot more before that Indiana news came out.
Here's my pushback on Mitch Rob. I hear you, and the price is really cheap. Did you know Houston is the best rebounding team in basketball percentage-wise?
Yep.
They're a really good rebounding team.
Sengun and
Garuba and Smith. I don't know.
Yeah, Smith,
collectively,
Smith.
they're pretty good.
Smith is a
team.
really good rebounder. Jabari Smith.
And they also do a pretty good job of subduing points in the paint. New York, for what it's worth, by the way, the best team as far as giving up the fewest amount of points in the paint. So I mean, Sengun can shoot from the outside theoretically, but not really in on them today either. The
liked
positive,
it a lot more before the Pacers news.
Here's the one positive is that Houston gets blocked more than anybody else in the league. So, and when Mitch Rob gets there, it's through like 5 or 6 blocks, right?
All right, I'm back in.
If you want to, I'm giving you both sides of it. I'm just giving you both sides of it. You're just like, I'm pretty sure they're still the worst team as far as getting blocked and getting the ball stolen. I'm pretty sure that holds as well. But yeah, for me, New York is pretty straightforward. I don't think there's no priorities, although it's a really good matchup, but I have no priorities on New York unless Brunson is out. And I want to see ownership-wise, which was updated an hour ago. So to be fair, the ownership might be a little bit stale. Brunson, 13%, Mitch Rob, 8%, Randall, 8%, Barrett, 8%. Nothing really popping there. And as far as the Houston side, nobody's getting more than 7%. Anything else we should say or point out?
No, this is one of those games on the slate where it's kind of just a huge wait on Jalen Brunson news type of thing.
All right. I'm running some optimals. I want to see how things kind of change. I had some variants as well. They're going to be popping up in a second. What's up, Will? There's Will popping up in the chat. Saw TJ lurking as well. TJ will be on later on at crunch time, about a half hour or so. Man, my very first optimal is $4. Like, there's no way I'm playing $4. But that is the top optimal by like 2 points as of right now, which is kind of crazy. Javon Carter is hitting my cap at 74%, as is Nasir Little. Middleton at 72%, Portis at 71%. Indiana guys are not okay. Isaiah Jackson 28%, Noir 31%, Matherin 57%. So we're getting some Indiana guys popping as well. Let's move on from New York and Houston. 9:00 game. So we have a bit of a jump there, right? 2, 3 early games, 2 games at 7:00, 1 game at 7:30. Then if you're waiting on news to develop, we may get it, we may not. 9:00. We have an hour and a half later. Phoenix versus Utah. 234 is the total. Phoenix 7-point favorite here, Stevie. I believe we're getting, Ayton officially back. Durant, I believe, is coming back on Wednesday. Today's not Wednesday, so we don't care. It's Daily Fantasy Sports. We care about today and today only. Ayton back for Phoenix. Utah, they are still without Jordan Clarkson, still without Sexton, still without Gay. Simone Fontecchio added to the list. He's also out. Lauri Markkanen's got a hand, and he's questionable. I think he comes back, but I don't know. And also Utah kind of sort of really doesn't want to win. They're in that sort of mix with Indiana and Orlando, those guys. What's your read? What's your assessment? Well, you kind of like teased it earlier. Tell me why you like Devin Booker, which is, I think he's a fabulous play.
Yeah, I mean, I had some interest in him on the podcast, and then like how this slate is just kind of shaping up. I don't know if I want to play Luka. I definitely have interest in James Harden. I have some interest in Jokic. We'll talk about that. But Booker's 10K on DraftKings, and he's averaging 65 fantasy points in 2 matchups against Utah. They're very banged up right now. They have nobody to stop him. They're the worst team in the league against shooting guards. Aiton coming back does not affect Devin Booker. If not anything, it helps him. I worry. The only worry is, worry that we could talk about a lot is, does this game stay close? Phoenix is kind of one of those teams that they either crush a team or they play down to their, opponent. So I think this is a fantastic spot for Devin Booker. Just the ownership, like we're getting a guy, like I said, he's averaging 65 fantasy points in 2 matchups against this team this season. He's 6% owned projected on DraftKings, 8% on FanDuel. And because of his price on Yahoo, a little bit more popular over there, but good spot for Devin Booker today against this Utah team.
Curious defensive versus archetype matchup, so I feel like that's going to play out as well. I imagine this is a good matchup when it comes to that. Let's see. I'm pulling it up now. I went to Utah for some reason. Of course, Phoenix is playing against Utah. And it is 14th best matchup for shooting wings. That's kind of surprising. I thought it'd be better than that. Because also, sometimes you just use your brain hole. And it's like, some teams, they have that quote-unquote, there's the Dortcher chamber. There's Herb Jones. Like, there's certain guys like, oh, I don't want to mess with that guy. Like, who's the guy on Utah where you're like, oh, man, I don't want this guy. Like, right. Chris Dunn, are they going to throw on him? Like, oh, Dunn's a pretty good defender, but like he's a little bit undersized against Booker. And I would imagine they cross paths. Like TXT, not for nothing. But, like, I've been watching too much Utah of late. That dude is, like, horrible. He's going to be in the league in a couple of years. Like, he's a good
Chris Paul's going to destroy him tonight.
He's not very good. Yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening. And again, he can put stats up and all that kind of things, but he makes some weird decisions when you watch him play. Maybe I just caught him like in a bad 3 or 4 game string. But and I'll still play. Like on FanDuel, he's actually got a pretty good price over there. But I don't know if he's great at basketball. Kelly O is he would benefit if we still have Markkanen out. He's been running the offense to some degree in the absence of Markkanen. I don't know who would jump in the starting lineup if Markkanen doesn't come back, because again, they lost what's his name? Fontecchio, the other starter, is out. Walker Kessler had an awesome game against Sacramento. I think he made 14 of 16 shots. Watched that game, and it was all basically dunks and layups and putbacks, and a lot of it was thanks to Olynyk passes. Olynyk had to get 10 assists in that game. But Kessler's always interesting, but I don't know if I'm getting there. You want to tell yourself a story? Sure. You mentioned Paul. Paul's fine, but I do agree if I had the money, I prefer Booker. I don't think I'm getting to Ayton. Kessler's a pretty solid defensive player, and Ayton might lose a minute or two in his first game back in a while, right? I got nothing else as far as this game. Do you?
Large field tournaments, you could take shots on Kelly O. His price is definitely going to keep his ownership down. But again, does price really matter today? Kind of how this slate's shaping up value-wise. So he's someone that has like realistically shown triple-double upside in 3 of his last 5 games. So I could get behind playing some Kelly Olynyk. Just the price is scary, man. The sticker shock is always something that worries you, but he's capable of 45 plus fantasy points. So I don't mind Kelly Olynyk. He's not my favorite, but if I end up in that range, I was just messing around building a team on FanDuel and I ended up in his range, and I was like, all right, maybe I plug him in.
Who's this?
Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah. I kind of want, I don't want to say I need, but obviously I want Markkanen out. But I think his ceiling gets hit a little bit if Markkanen's out. But they breaks in chat saying Olynyk's too much. He's not, and like you said, he can put up 40 and he'll be asked to do a fair bit out there. But I like him much more if Markkanen doesn't play. Obviously, it goes without saying.
But it could potentially help his triple-double upside, though, if Markkanen does play.
Yeah, and Jason in chat saying all this so-called value is going to lose people money. Horrible players are just horrible players. Not really, man. Like Marvin Bagley.
You know how hard it is to get to the NBA?
They're all really, really good. And I didn't mean to pick on THT, but by comparison, it's not. There's too many words. By comparison to everybody else, to his contemporaries, certainly THT would school me. Of course, that's congratulations. But by comparison to everybody else, I don't think he's that great. But he's also a good fantasy player when he has the opportunity. So, I'm curious, who are you thinking, Jason? Tell me who the so-called value players are that stink. Ray, we knew about Towns a while ago, but thank you. Pat is out. Thank you for confirming that. He's sitting out in the back half of back-to-back. But yeah, I'm curious, what is this terrible chalk? Because do you have a a read on who the terrible chalk players are. I don't know if there's terrible chalk right now.
Are you asking me? Or are you asking chat?
Yeah, I'm asking Jason and I'm asking you. Is there any? Do you see chalk that's like, oh man, that is scary, terrible chalk?
I mean, honestly, the scariest chalk is probably Chris Middleton. But
that's ridiculous. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
But yeah, I mean, if the game gets out of hand, this guy plays 26 minutes and he doesn't get there. But even in like 26 minutes, if the game's out of hand, he could be the reason why it's out of hand. So, scary wise, him maybe, but like
Nasir Little's an interesting one.
Yeah, Little doesn't scare me as much. Like that team is without so many people, and if Watford doesn't play, he doesn't scare me at all. The other one that like Javon Carter is scary. He's scary because he's not a super high usage guy, but when he does get high usage, he doesn't always necessarily do stuff with it. So like if I had to pick like another potential scary option, the last time Giannis and Drew sat, he scored like 18 fantasy points. So like if I had to pick like scary chalk, maybe it's Carter. But the minutes in the matchup, like that matchup was Orlando, which is not the best team, and he only played 17 minutes in that game. But yeah, maybe it's Carter.
Carter sees a 6% usage bump, what it's worth, and in the sample of no Holiday, no Giannis, what is his minutes? 531 minutes and 0.99 fantasy points per minute, 21.7% usage. Oh, Little only 15% usage in the season, and he's the guy that might see Herb Jones, or maybe they'll throw Herb on Sharp. I don't know, but there's gonna be a ton of opportunity for Portland. Obviously, we'll get to that in a minute. Anything else as far as Phoenix and Utah, or shall we move on?
That's all I got for those guys.
Is Brook Lopez chalk?
He's not chalk. Lopez
yeah, I don't think he's chalk. Like, what's chalk on a 7 or 8 game slate? Like 24%, 22%, 20%. Javon's asking about Pat Connaughton over Carter. I don't feel comfortable about that one. And I think, don't they have like more? They have more wings than I guess Ingles can control the ball for Milwaukee. I'm just trying to think guys.
I was just answering your question. I still have Carter in my lineup. I'm just your question to me and chat's question to us was who's the scary chalk, and the scary chalk to me would be Carter.
Fair enough. Yeah. I hear.
Not saying I'm not playing him. I'm just saying like he's the guy that I'm like, eh.
He's so cheap, right? But he's got.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The price, like if anything, maybe you're looking elsewhere on FanDuel where he's 48. He's still going to be pretty popular over there. He's 3,400 on DraftKings. Like 30 points over there is solid, but 30 points on FanDuel at 48. Now we're talking like there's other options potentially. So maybe for Carter on FanDuel, it's easier to get off of him than it is on DraftKings.
Agreed.
Like, same price. TJ McConnell? No, he's a little bit more, right?
I think McConnell's 5-1 on DK. I'm not sure what.
I'm talking FanDuel. Like, he's 40. 59.
And also McConnell, like when he really gets going, it's like they're like 7 goofy steals, right? You get 3 points.
Devion Mitchell or Javon Carter on FanDuel. Which one would you rather have? Assuming Fox doesn't play.
Well, Fox is in.
He is playing. Okay.
Yeah, even if Fox was in, I would take Carter.
I'm just throwing some names at you that like. Potential maybe pivots.
Okay, let's talk about Philadelphia and Denver. We're not getting the potential MVP matchup. Unfortunately, no Embiid tonight. Harden expected back. Dan House also expected back. Denver fully healthy with the exception of Michael Porter Jr. MPJ is currently questionable. Injury load management is what they're giving him. Harden, of course, it's a tricky one, right? Do you expect Harden just to jump back and get his normal assessment, his normal load? Like, is there going to be a few minutes taken off that? We're giving him 36 minutes. And of course, when there is no Embiid, other players step up in his absence. Maxey is very much in play. Maxey can put 30 points in that bucket. Wouldn't shock any of us. He's a little bit of sticker shock there as well. 7-7 on DK. Harden's 9-6. As far as the big man, like who they going to throw on Jokic? I don't know if I care. I think they have enough guys that I'm not certain one rises out that I have to have. They have Tucker. They have Paul Reed. I think they have Harrell, right? Isn't Harrell still there? Yeah, and they have also Dwayne Dedman. So they have 4 big guys. That's, they have 24 fouls they can throw at Jokic if they want to. I don't know, and of course we're not playing Tucker anyway. But like a lot of times you just be like, oh wow, if Paul Reed starts, and he might. I don't know what to do with the center stuff as far as Philadelphia, but I think like we have other so much cleaner routes as opposed to messing with who starts for Embiid. Is that where you're at as well? Because that's where I'm at.
I'm not touching any Philly value. Just nothing really jumping off the page to me. Like you said, it could be Tucker, it could be Reed, it could be anybody. Either way, I don't think none of them slow down Jokic, which is interesting if you want to play the flip side narrative of this game, and take some shots on Jokic saying, hey, Embiid's out. I'm going to go put up an 80 spot against this team and make a argument why I am the MVP. We talked about all the narratives this morning about like how Embiid is like the guy, but hey, why couldn't it be Jokic playing the other side of the, because like Tucker's a good defender, definite size advantage to Jokic. Paul Reed, his defending is to be determined. So I could see a big game from Jokic, but to stay on the Philadelphia side, I like Harden a lot. Like this is a game. Philadelphia is in that like spot where you're the 3 seed. You really don't want to be the 4 seed. I think you want to win every game as much as possible right here. Yeah, I mean, I would much rather have the Nets than the Knicks, I think.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia probably plays maybe Cleveland, maybe New York, maybe Brooklyn, possibly Miami, depending on how things sort of weigh out. It's still a little bit too far off. We're not really sure.
I still think you want to win every game.
I think so, yeah. And Denver's kind of separated themselves a little bit in the West. They have 3 games up on Memphis. Of course, they still have fully incentivized to grab a W as well. Ownership-wise, and we did get an update as far as ownership. And again, this stuff gets more refined the closer we get to lock. 10 minutes ago, Jokic just getting 10% seems a little bit low. And if that's the case, I think you're supposed to get more than 10% of Jokic on DK. Wonder what he is on FanDuel. Probably a little bit lower than that. You only get 1 center, 1 only, obviously. But 10% seems a little bit low. Biggest guy as far as ownership of this game is James Harden. We talked about why the absence of Embiid. More responsibilities go to Harden. Potential triple-double on layaway if things go really well for him. Maxey getting 14%, even at 7-7. Otherwise, nobody getting anything else beyond like 5 or 6 or 7%. Taking a peek here as far as FanDuel-wise ownership. Harden at 28%, Maxey at 21%, and Embiid at 7%. So, yeah, I think you want to come in over on that number. Yeah, Harden at 7. I like Harden too, but I'm a little bit concerned, but I assume they wouldn't roll him out there unless it was 100%. I assume he's good to go. Anything else that's worth pointing out, worth talking about as far as this game, or shall we move on? Anything else you want to stress?
I mean, Paul Reed is projected for a lot of ownership, and it just doesn't seem like the right slate. He's not my favorite play today.
Yeah, I mean, always a good fantasy point minute player. The minutes are squirrely, right? There feels like a lot of uncertainty there. Uncertainty. Well, I cannot say that word. The other day, it was another word I was stuck on. I could not say for some reason, but yeah, we're gonna move on.
He's played over 20 minutes 1 time, 2 times since the beginning of the year, 3 times total this season, 4 times total this season, 5 times total this season. Just kidding.
1.04 DK points per minute, 1.13 FanDuel points per minute, and again, they have Dedman. He's a big. Like I'm not saying you play Dedman, but he's going to go out there and probably get some hacks in, shoot up a couple threes, and eat up some of those center minutes. It's just going to be a team effort, and I don't know if one distinctly stands out. Is that Kleber officially out, which is interesting. Thank you for that, Derek in chat. Again, Christian Wood, I think he's more in the pool now for your tournaments. Obviously, he's still not a certain great math play. But if you're shooting for upside, and also the matchup for Christian Wood is really good against Indiana without Miles Turner. If he gets on the court, 26, 27, 28 minutes of Wood against, this Indiana team can be very profitable. Do you have any thoughts on that? It's risk reward, but I think it's an interesting risk.
Sure, Dean. Risk reward.
Okay. We got 3 more games. We're well on time here.
We're on time?
Crew.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you want to
Chat's going to have a heart attack. We're never on time.
Yeah, 28 minutes. I rounded up for some people. 28 minutes of wood. I knew somebody was going to gravitate to that. I said it, and I'm like, I'm just going to let it sit there for a second and then move on. But
see how easy it is to derail Dean?
Scott says Luka or Jokic. That's a fun question. Obviously, different positions, but it's an interesting fork in the slate as a starting point.
Yeah, I mean, probably Luka. I think it's probably Luka for me. It's really close.
I mean, you're also kind of asking, like, how do you feel about the rest of the point guards in the slate versus how do you feel about the rest of the centers in the slate? It's kind of the secondary question that's built in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and you can certainly pair Harden and Jokic together. That's one way to do that. A little correlation, and 2 of the better, one of the best point guards, one of the best centers. And that's not like a super obvious thing, but 10% of the people are going to be on Jokic. I think it's going to be a little higher when things settle. Okay, we have 3 more games. We got Crunch Time Crew coming in about 15 minutes or so. That's Andy Means, TJ Zwarych, and you got Roth, of course, holding things down. Minnesota versus Sacramento. This is the weird game, Stevie, because the game environment's really good, but like it's mostly neglected as far as ownership because the salary is just kind of like where they should be. There's no bargains, right? And there's not a lot of body parts out. It's basically fully healthy teams. 238 though, Minnesota, Sacramento. Sacramento is a 7-point favorite. As far as who's in and who's out in this one, Sacramento, again, fully healthy. Nobody hurt. Fox officially ruled in. Minnesota is without Cat. I thought Edwards is Edwards officially questionable? Signs are that he's supposedly going to play. I saw that someplace, but I don't want to misspeak. I guess he's officially questionable. Yeah, he's officially questionable, but I think there's like a lean to him playing. Take that for what it's worth. But yeah, so good environment, but to basically, no cap of it. Their prices have not adjusted back, right? So Minnesota had those prices without cap for a long time, and players haven't necessarily fallen back a ton with Cat coming back for a game or two. Where like now you're just pouncing with Cat out, like all of a sudden value's opening up. That makes sense. Your assessment as far as Minnesota and Sacramento. Sacramento officially in the playoffs. Shout out to the Kings. Light that beam.
This game is going to win someone in the tournament tonight. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I mean, this game environment is fantastic. So looking at the slate, like as a whole, I mean, this game's so good. It has a 238 total. It has very little ownership. Anthony Edwards, not a great defender. Kevin Huerter, priced up a little bit for Fox being out. He could smash in this spot. Fox coming back with a hamstring. No one really wanting to play him. Sabonis is so expensive. No one wants to play him. Edwards can get hot. Like, there's so many ways for this game to get there. Like, if I'm running 150, at least 20 of my lineups is at least a 2-2 game stack here, because I think this is the game that could break the slate. We use the value elsewhere and then get the pieces and make this like a game stack that really works. Kyle Anderson with no Cat. Like, Kyle Anderson has been fantastic, and he's priced up a little bit. But if you look at the production, the price doesn't warrant like the production. This guy is over 48 fantasy points in 3 of his last 7 games. Like,
he's been outrageous.
Yeah, he's been playing fantastic. So really, like, this is the game that, like, if you're circling a game that you want a game stack, this is the game for me.
Sabonis is always a little bit underpriced, a little bit under-owned, I guess I should say. We're looking at 9% on Sabonis. Sabonis always a threat to triple-double out there. We're seeing 12% on Edwards on DK, but that's the highest projected ownership. Gobert at 9%. Fox at 7%. I mean, I don't really know who the guy is, but certainly somebody should come out of this game looking really, really good and could be a potential separator. but I don't feel great like it's saying like this is the guy. But there's a pool of guys to pick
That's
from
how I
for
feel,
sure.
man. Like, trying to like pinpoint where to stack this game is really tough. But like this game, like I think you're using some groups and you're getting exposure to this game and doing it in a game stack, like because it's just fantastic.
I saw Javon in chat says loves Herter. Kevin Herter, number one as far as DVA, defense versus archetype. If you call Kevin Herter a shooting wing, and he most definitely is a shooting wing, it's the number one matchup according to the RotoGrinders defense versus archetype matchup tool matchup against Minnesota. Yeah, he got a little bit extra burn, I think, last game because Monk got ejected. I think a couple of those guys probably got a little extra burn, but weird ejection if you're watching that game. Like he got fouled by Olynyk. They didn't call it. He was upset. He said something, and that's it. Like it wasn't even like one tech. It was two techs and gone. That was pretty weird. But all right, we're moving on, right? Anything else we're talking about? I think we're moving on, correct?
No, I don't know. Like this isn't like the game that I would like try to like one off from. This is the game that I would stack.
Okay. We still have two more games to go. New Orleans, Portland. New Orleans, huge favorite on the road here, 12-point favorite because they're facing the Blazers. The Blazers, of course, just in Jersey alone, these are not your friend of like 2 months ago's Blazers for sure. No Damian Lillard. I can kind of run them all down. No Simons, no Grant, no Nurkic. Watford officially doubtful, left last night's game, came back from last night's game, then officially left that game for good. We saw drawing the start in the second half was Nasir Little, and he's really popping. And I know he had a good game last night, getting some extra burn, but he's one of those guys, like, it wouldn't shock me if he kind of got shut down to some degree. He's not a high usage guy, be a 15% usage guy in the season. But he is super cheap, and he should get plenty of burn here. Like you said, New Orleans actually has something to, they're trying to get some W's. They're battling in that West. Ideally, they want to get out of the play-in nonsense or at least be in the 8 seed as opposed to 9 or 10. I think they're at where are they at right now? They're 8, but it's so congested. The difference between 4, the Suns have 39 wins and they're 4, and OKC has 37 wins and they're 10. Just outrageous. All these games down the stretch in the West. And Dallas on the outside looking in, with it's so hard not to make the playoffs. Like Houston, horrendous. San Antonio, horrendous. Portland, worse. Utah, and then Dallas. That's your tier, your group with those terrible teams. All right. Thoughts as far as the Portland chalk. We are getting very, very popular players on the Portland side. The prices have adjusted. Sharp is all the way up to 6'2", but still looks like there's some meat in that bone. Their prized rookie this year, finally getting a chance to shine in the absence of Simons, the absence of Lillard. The center getting, way too much but Eubanks is still just 4-3. I don't love the matchup against Joval. And by the way, Joval, if he gets 30 minutes of run against this team, he might drop the old 2020. And I think he's just lost on this slate because the price has been bumped up. But his minutes, nothing short of 28 minutes in the last 5 games. And there's some blowouts mixed in there as well. Got up to 34. They're 4-1 too, so they're winning. They're winning with playing Jonas Valanciunas. And also, there's that rumor out there, there's been rumblings about Larry Nance playing hurt. So maybe that's one of the reasons why his minutes have been pushed back. I love Valanciunas for tournaments, by the way. Like 10%, 9% we're looking at. I think he's an interesting separator. And you mentioned Ingram. Ingram, awesome too. Just 13% ownership. Should fully smash as long as this game stays close. I will turn it over. New Orleans, Portland, go for it.
Chat, can we talk about how Dean was like, oh, Valanciunas might get lost in this slate, and he was like the last person he mentioned.
I'm
he
keeping
lost
him for myself.
No, listen, Valanciunas is fantastic spot. Like his ownership, he's my center play on FanDuel right now. 8,100. I mean, with being able to play like Eubanks at power forward on FanDuel, like it just makes a lot of sense to have Valanciunas on FanDuel at 8,100. I like him on DraftKings too. A little bit tougher to make it work earlier this morning, but now, man, you can play anybody you want. Hashtag Mr. Blender. But yeah, I mean, I love this spot for Valanciunas. Little smash in the second half. He played the whole third quarter, starting for Watford. So yeah, little worried about him being shut down, but the fact that he should start and he should get his normal run here tonight. Again, this is a guy they really want to kind of see get going. He's been plagued with injuries since he's been drafted, and he could really get kind of a boost his confidence. So little Eubanks, Valanciunas, Keon Johnson is someone that like potentially flying under the radar. He's gonna shoot when he's on the floor. He could benefit too with Watford being out. So he's another guy that I don't mind in large field tournaments. Sharp's price is getting up there, but he's your usage guy right now. 27, 28, and 22% over the last 3 games. So with Simons and Grant and all these guys out, this is a spot where you got to kind of think like who's going to play if this game gets out of hand, because New Orleans should handle this game.
I think Keon Johnson was one of those guys that, like, as the day has progressed, he's gotten worse and worse as a play. Like this morning, he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, but now I don't know how much we need him, but sure, he's interesting, and he does have the highest usage amongst the guys that are actually playing tonight." I'm running it. I want to see if that changes if I kick everybody off the court. If I can get kind of a sample if that sort of holds. I assume that Sharp's going to spike up. Jalen Smith or Little? Who do you prefer of those two?
Jalen Smith or Little?
Yeah.
I think Little. My phone's ringing in my ear. I prefer Little.
I forgot to kick Simons off the court, and I ran a court IQ with Lillard, Grant, Nurkic, Winslow, and Watford off. And Simons has a 43% usage in 76 minutes. Oh, my God.
Miss that guy.
Johnson, for what it's worth, 26% usage and number one guy, but now I got to kick Simons off the court. But that is a wild number. Let's see what we have. We're going to run it again. We're not going to get much of a sample, are we? But I am curious to see where this lands. Sharp at 29.5%, Keon Johnson 27%, Little at 26%. Yeah, so some pretty big spikes. Little spiking at 8%, Sharp at 7%. Oh, I still have Josh Hart mixed in there. I can't kick everybody off the court. I would get no sample, but you see where I'm getting at. Anything else before we acknowledge the last game on the slate, which I think is, I don't want to just say it doesn't exist, but one of my, if I'm going to power rank the games, I don't really love the Chicago Clipper game. 220 is the total. Clippers, 4 or 5 point favorites here. Paul George is out for the foreseeable future. I don't really want to mess with which random Clipper is going to pop up. I don't think I have to on this slate. No Powell, no Marcus Morris. Chicago, Caruso's got that foot. He's been questionable like indefinitely, it seems like. Sometimes he goes, sometimes he doesn't. I don't think I care. Not in this slate. You tell me. Bulls, Clippers, am I missing something?
I don't think you're necessarily missing anything. This game, it's not that juicy. Quiet, low ownership, maybe Vucevic at low ownership now that we don't have Embiid, but overall not a game that like jumps off the page. Like, yeah, this isn't a stackable game for me like the Minnesota-Sacramento game. And Drummond played a lot the other night because Vooch got ejected, so don't look into that too much. So overall, not a game that I have a ton of interest in. Kawhi would be the guy that I would take some shots on in tournaments. He would be in my player pool. Vooch would be in my player pool as well. Caruso is projected as like the highest owned player for Chicago, which is kind of funny now that like we have all the value on this slate.
Give it a refresh. Give it a refresh.
Yeah. So
yeah,
Vooch and Kawhi would be the only two that I have any kind of interest in here.
Yeah, the highest projection ownership right now, Kawhi at 8%. And sure, if you want him in the pool, by all means, go for it. He's not my favorite amongst the studs, but of course, he can be the top guy. Levine 7%, DeRozan 6%, Caruso at 4%. That's DK. FanDuel kind of the same. Kawhi at 11%, Pat Bev at 9%. We are also projecting Caruso in. I suppose he would bump up a little bit. That's a revenge game too for Pat Bev. Is this first blood revenge for Pat Bev? I feel like he's the kind of guy that would have a little bit of vengeance in his heart.
What's he going to do? Try to go out and get six steals and 5 assists instead of 2 steals and 3 assists? Like Patrick Beverly Dean. When we talk narratives and there's like, Embiid who can control 35 shots, and then we're going to talk Patrick Beverly. Like, this is a perfect time for Crunch Time Crew because this is the most ridiculous take you've had all day.
He's going to show no mercy. He's going to sweep the leg. Sensei, he's going to tell Russ Wilson is on the other side. Russ Westbrook. Man. I always get those two guys confused. He's going to sweep Westbrook's leg. They have some history. He's probably watched John Wick 4.
So then he won't get any.
Then I'm still right. Yeah.
Is John Wick still mad about his dog? Is that still the storyline, or are they up the ante? And John, no spoilers. John Wick 4 is about the theaters. But
I haven't seen
I
the
don't know why.
fourth one yet, but it's being like critically acclaimed as by far the best John Wick movie and one of the very best action movies in the last like 10 years.
That's what I heard, but it's like 2 hours and 50 minutes too. It's a long movie.
Apparently, you don't feel it, which is crazy. Like
Didn't
you
take
know
you
how
guys long.
basically, you know, basically all the John Wick movies they just like they don't have a plot. It's basically just like a video game where it's like on to the next level. Apparently, this one actually does have a plot, and it's. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
The fourth one, like, hey, I got an idea for the fourth one. Let's have that an actual plot this time. I know it's all right. What's up, Roth? What's up? We have Andy and TJ Zwarych. What's up, TJ?
Man, I'm not sure if I should throw you under the bus about the triple threat take because it's not your most ridiculous take of the day. Whatever you said was not your most ridiculous take of the day.
What was my most ridiculous take of the day?
You had not heard of triple threat position.
Yeah, I didn't play basketball as a child, organized basketball. I played with friends and stuff like that. But my friends weren't like, hey, when you get the ball, make sure you get yourself in triple threat positions. Like,
They should have.
After like the initial 5-minute shock of staring at your message that said that, it did finally register that like I could see a world where that could happen. But to me, like it was like first you learn how to walk, then you learn triple threat position, I guess. Or
you know how like the Tom Ameansy, remember Tom Ameansy, the video that Fred McGriff endorsed for baseball? Who's the basketball guy that told you guys about triple threat position? Who was that? People don't know. This is a really inside joke.
Every camp I went to.
Every camp I went to. Matt Geiger camp for me.
My dad, when he put a ball in my hand, how else am I supposed to know how to know that I need to be able to dribble, pass, or shoot at any points in a game at any time?
Yeah.
I played soccer
school
and baseball. And wait, Matt Geiger, former Orlando Magic, former Miami Heat, Matt Geiger. You went to his camp?
Yeah, I threw him a sick alley-oop once. It's my claim to fame.
What did you said that on a show recently? Didn't you say he like the pass was so bad that it made him like do an awesome dunk? Isn't that what happened?
He came up to I threw it. It was way behind him, and he like reached back and grabbed it perfectly and just crushed it. And I was like, that was amazing. And he's like, yeah, that was actually maybe the best dunk of my life. So,
what was his camp? Did he teach you how to shoot? Matt Geiger, the audacity, he's telling you how to shoot?
Yeah, he showed up like one. It was like a 2-week camp. He showed up one day just to mess around. He wasn't really instrumental.
They slapped his name on him and gave him like $10,000 or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who are the fluffers before Matt Geiger comes in?
I went to a basketball camp in France when I was a kid, and Tony Parker was one of the coaches. And the only piece of advice that I remember him telling me was, TJ, there's 400 people watching. How come Dean has not gotten anyone to hit the like button?
Is that an attempt at a French accent? You actually speak French.
That was a French accent. That was a great French pretending to speak English accent.
I don't know, man.
I'm
That's
out.
how they sound.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
In a few hours, Stevie.
Later,
See you guys.
See ya.
All right. Well, we shall yield. My Stevie said enough. That French accent chased them away, understandably so. Get all the likes in before TJ asks. We do appreciate y'all. Hit that like button, smash it, caress it, touch it. Whatever you do with the like button, turn it on. We do appreciate it. Let's the lights stay on. It's now the FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time, starring Andy Means, TJ Zwarych, and Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
Appreciate it, Dino. Good stuff as always, by the way. Hey, welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is Crunch Time. Smash that like button with a hammer or just with a click. That'd probably actually be the better idea. This show is free. It is sponsored by FanDuel, and that's why we request a like. That way we get more eyeballs. We can keep the show free for as long as humanly possible. But it should not be free because I am joined by two of the sharpest minds in the business. One, Mr. Andy Means, gave a corporate speech to the whole company today. Big dog Andy Means. What up, bud?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. This mainly because this slate. This is a slate right here. 8 games, good plays that are good players, a bunch of good value that you have to figure out, a bunch of good spend ups that you have to figure out. This is a good NBA DFS slate.
I'm in a good DFS playing mood, so I'm looking for it. Can I ask you, were you nervous for the speech? Was it like giving a best man speech where you were just like thinking about it all week and you just couldn't wait to get it over with? How do you feel now that it's in the past?
A little bit, yeah, just because like I haven't done one of those in a while. Like it's a little different than talking about NBA DFS, which I can just like rattle off like I'm in my sleep. But yeah, it's good to do it and good to get it over with. Yeah, the weight's off the shoulders now.
I feel you on that. Let's see. Someone just messaged me about a win they had. We will get to that in a bit. We also have TJ coming in hot. What up, TJ? How are you feeling? And did that person just say they tagged the wrong person when they talked about their big winnings?
No, somebody just said, "Wait, this show is free. Who just requested that I Venmo them $100?" And so I said, "That was me." People in chat keep saying TJ deserves a raise. So what I've been doing is, instead of asking the people at RotoGrinders, I just ask the people in chat, like various people, scroll, click, and I ask them to Venmo me a couple $100.
That's a good move. Yeah, I like it. I actually I have a lot of people during baseball season when things go right that reach out to me wanting to give me money. And I always refuse. I'm like, look, bud, a week from now, it's going to go the other way. And I ain't giving the money back. So like, just keep your money and say something nice on Twitter because, it doesn't always go well. But we appreciate everybody who's watching, hanging out with us. TJ, you feel good about this slate? Are you going to have people offering you money by the end of it?
I hope so. I really, really do feel good about this one. I'm hoping that I won't even have to accept the money because I'll have won so much of it on the slates on my own. It's a really fun one for tournaments because we have a lot of chalk, but to be honest with you, I think it's a lot of good chalk. And because of how much of it is value-based, it just allows us to get overweight on both the chalk and then double that down with getting like super overweight to all the various studs who aren't picking up a ton of ownership today. So I'm very excited about this one.
Okay, well, you guys have me hyped about it. I don't really know what's going on, but I want to get caught up. I'm going to put in big money. I'm thinking 10, 15 bones, which that's like 3 times my usual playing amount. So let's get this going here. Means you want to give us a kind of a deep dive into the slate as TJ's cat serenades us.
I honestly didn't know if that was a cat or a baby. I thought it was one. I knew it was one of you guys. I didn't know.
Right, with the two of us, you never know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which feeds into from GrindersLive the other day. Yes, dogs can always be puppies, and yes, some cats can always be kitties. They're babies.
It's facts. That's facts. I agree with that.
All right, I had about 70% that was a human, so I thought that was for sure coming from Ross Mike. All right, so I don't think I need to catch everyone up too.
Scream at your cat live on air. That's good. All right, that's good. All right. We can drop it now. You got me. I'm an ass. All right, let's never bring it up again. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I need to go through all of the news that's happened, mainly because it's been a while since it hit. Like Giannis out, Drew out, Luka in, Embiid most likely out, et cetera, et cetera. And then we just recently got like Halliburton and Turner out. So we have most of it. There's still a few things we're waiting on, like the Brunson is kind of big. It sounds like Tibbs isn't too concerned about his availability tonight, as in he practiced and he should be all right. So I think we should be all right with Brunson playing, but obviously if he's out, we'd go pretty quickly. I didn't even do that. Let's just go through a FanDuel build here. A lot of the guys I'm going to talk about are going to be Bucks and they're going to be Blazers. I didn't mention anything Portland related because the situation's been kind of what it is the past handful of games. And that's Dame out, Ant out, Nurk out, Grant out, and now Watford's doubtful. So we know what we're doing here with these guys. Point guard, I'll just do both guards on FanDuel. Javon Carter at 4.8, much better price tag on DK, but at 4.8, he's still one of the better cheap plays on the slate. He plays a lot of minutes in games without Giannis and Drew. And I think he's going to be a good option tonight. So let's move on from him. Middleton, shooting guard eligible. I think he's a no-brainer. The only issue with him is going to be a minutes thing. We have him at 30. I think he's topped out at 32 to 33 in the game since he returned. So I don't think we can expect much more than that. I do feel really good about the volume here. Like, this is a great excuse for them to just say, go be you again. Like, he's kind of been a little rusty since he came back. So the other two guys aren't playing tonight. So let's get him the Barack as much as possible and let him go to work. So I think he's just a phenomenal play tonight. And I do think there's upside, especially because of the matchup and especially because of the price tag. So he's one of my favorite plays. Some other options here. James Harden, obviously, with no Embiid. Tyrese Maxey with no Embiid. Those guys are great spend ups. The Pacers, Nimard is 5'8", McConnell is 5'9". Those guys are good mid-tier options. Let's see, looking through. That's about the gist of it. I mentioned Chris Paul as well as kind of a last piece sort of thing. All right, let's go over to small forward. Let's see. All right, so Middleton's there, obviously, and then you have Nasir Little. So Nasir Little, 2 games ago, he was coming off the bench. That was when Watford was playing and just stunk it up. Then last night, Watford. One of you guys got to mute, man. Yes, yeah, thank you. Little. So sorry, got sidetracked. So Watford got hurt last night at like 10 minutes in, and Little just killed. So he'll probably start tonight. Plenty of rate increases and whatnot. So I think he's just too cheap. There is room for him to not get there just because it's a tanking team, and it's not like I don't want to say like he's one of the guys they're most invested in or anything. So at 4-3 though, I think for cash games he's definitely a must play. Then one other guy I'll mention is Kyle Anderson at 6K. Like this is, we had that whole stretch of games where Cat didn't play. Cat's been back for 2 games. Now he's out tonight on the second night of a back-to-back. This is a really good price tag for slow-mo. I could see playing them at small forward. I could see playing them at either of the forward spots, but I'll talk about some other guys at power forward that I like slightly better. One guy I didn't mention at small forward or at shooting guard is Mathurin. He's 4'8". He holds out. The other guys are out that I mentioned. Duarte's out. So plenty of good options here. This is just a good play overload. I'm probably already mentioning too many people. Let's go to power forward real quick. Not too many guys I'm going to talk about here because they're just very clear in my opinion. Eubanks at 5'2", Portis at 6'3", mentioned Slow-Mo at 6K. Then you have Jalen Smith at 4'9", Isaiah Jackson at 4'6" because Turner's out. So really good plays there. I didn't mention Nora at small forward. He's a good play as well, but definitely falls behind those other guys I mentioned in the 5 and 6K range. And then at center, I think you're probably going to play one of Eubanks or Portis here. The guy you would probably slide in there that isn't named those two would be Brook Lopez or maybe Rudy Gobert. I prefer Brolo. But yeah, I think you're going with one of Eubanks or Portis here. So that's all I got.
Okay, very good. Let's turn it over. Let's talk some GPPs. By the way, True North said Mainsy's going to do a show live from the zoo one day to pay you guys back. And that one got me.
Oh, killing me.
It did not make Mainsy laugh, but it made us laugh. That's okay. All right, TJ, let's talk tournaments here. Mainsy, you can yell at us in the private chat or yell at TJ. It wasn't me. TJ, you can walk us through a tournament build here on FanDuel.
I wasn't even going to say anything, but I've been muted since the first meow, so it couldn't have been me this time. But this is such a great slate for tournaments. Since this Indiana value opened things up, it leaves us with so many players on that team with just high upside. And so in terms of this big man situation, I want to play, especially on FanDuel where we have dual position eligibility for both of them. I want to play one of Jalen Smith, O'Shea Brissett, and Isaiah Jackson in every single one of my lineups. I want to be playing a lot of Jordan Nwora or Benedict Mathurin today. I want to be playing a lot of Andrew Nemard or TJ McConnell today. I want to be making sure I get kind of at least one of those guys in each of my lineups. So I'll likely be playing 2 Pacers in every one of my lineups today. That's the rule I currently have set is I want 2 Pacers. I want 1 Portland player. And I believe that's the only one I'm making sure I get a bare. And I want 1 Milwaukee player in each of my lineups today. On DraftKings, I think there's conversations to be had for fading Chris Middleton in tournaments, but on FanDuel, where value's tougher to come by, a $7,400 Chris Middleton, like that just feels like good chalk to me today. Even if this turns into some kind of a blowout and he only plays 26, 28 minutes, there's a really good chance he's likely going to have a big game regardless in that amount of time. It's kind of like a Kristaps Porzingis on these past few slates that we've had, except Middleton's even cheaper. In terms of getting different in tournaments, I'm going to be trying to get to a lot of these spend ups today. So Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, they're coming in at low, just barely over 10% ownership today. And I'm looking to get to a lot of them. Kawhi Leonard and Devin Booker in these late games, not going to be picking much ownership up, and I'm looking to get to them today. I think they have the potential to match a guy like James Harden, and that's kind of the route that I'm feeling like going today, is not get different with the value chalk, but get different with some of the spend ups. So instead of keep playing the Nasir Littles and the Indiana value, the Milwaukee value, stick there. But as opposed to playing James Harden with them, run it back with a guy like Devin Booker. The only times I really think I want to play James Harden in this type of lineup today is going to be with Nikola Jokic. And I do love that stack, but that's kind of how I'm looking to correlate things today, is stick with the chalky value and then either pay up for somebody contrarian or mix and match that rest of a team with a game stack. And the game stacks I'm looking to are Dallas and Indiana, playing a lot of these Indiana guys, running it back with Kyrie, with Luka, and even a guy like Christian Wood today. That's somebody I really like for tournaments. Maxi Kleber is out, and if Wood gets like 25 to 28 minutes against this Indiana defense with no Miles Turner today, he could have 50 fantasy points. So he's a guy I really like in tournaments. And by really like, I mean, I'm getting like 8% of him in 150 max because he's going to be 1% owned. Another game stack I'm looking
real quick on that thought. I did see last game Dwight Powell only got 4 minutes. Was that injury related, or was that just kid is finally thrown in the towel and is like, you know what? I'm going to actually play my good players.
I don't think Powell is injured in any way. The last two I want to touch on is either Philly and Denver for a game stack, Minnesota and Sacramento for a game stack, and then I'll throw it back to Ameansy because Jalen Brunson just got ruled out.
Well, there goes my whole night. There goes everything I planned on doing. The Brunson burner extinguished, as Alan says. Ameansy, how important is that? You know, there's already good value. There's already good plays everywhere.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be quickly to the moon.
Yeah.
Pulling up price tags again. He's 6.5 on DraftKings, 6K on FanDuel. He has like absurd minutes played in these games with no Brunson. And it's a matchup against the Rockets. No Brunson means it has a better chance of staying close. I know at least one of those games was like that weird double overtime game. I think where quickly played like, 79 minutes. But like seriously, he has like a ton of minutes played even in the normal one. So I really like Brunson tonight. That's unfortunate because like he had such good looking numbers as far as like opto percentage and ownership and ceiling and lineup HQ, but not going to play. So it's probably going to be, you're going to probably see a really big projection on quickly. And I think Julius Randle, he's like 9.3 on DraftKings. I think he's going to be, he's going to look really well too. So quickly's going to stand out above everybody.
Already weird starting lineup for Indiana, and that's going to be really important to cover. So I'll throw it to Ameansy to do it. But no Isaiah Jackson. It's of course Twitter is going to have a rate limit exceeded and not want to reload for me. But yeah, it was Jalen Smith and Aaron Nesmith, Jordan Nwora, Nemhard, and Mathurin.
Meansy, what do you make of that?
Jackson was really cheap on DraftKings, so that's going to move him down the priority list a little bit. Let me double check and see what there are these Jalen Smith's only 4,100, and he has power forward eligibility on DraftKings, which he did not have, or which Jackson did not have. I didn't even mention Jackson's name on FD because I think he was priced up a little more, but Jalen Smith has a good price tag over there. Let me double check Jackson's price tag and then we can move on. Yeah, Jackson was 5.6 on FanDuel, so much further down the list compared to DK. But yeah, Smith's going to pop up a decent amount. We'll probably give him a handful of more minutes now that he's starting. So yeah, mainly at DK for like primary builds, like the best plays of the best plays. It's going to be more of a DraftKings discussion for those Pacers bigs. Yeah.
Okay.
Should we go on to DraftKings in general?
I think so. Yeah. Let's roll through it. And then, just considering the new news, of course, go through what you're thinking.
Sure. I just want to look at one thing real quick before I go on with things. Cause so Quickly's point guard, shooting guard on DraftKings, which is important. The shooting guard eligibility is important because like some of the best plays on DraftKings don't have shooting guard eligibility. Some of the best guards. So like that's Javon Carter, that's James Harden. So like those two right there didn't have it. Like those were two of my favorite guards, and they didn't have shooting guard eligibility. So I was kind of looking at like a Shaedon Sharpe, who's still underpriced without all those Blazers, but it's going up. So I was looking at him, Maxey, Mathurin, but now I think it's quickly.
He leapfrogs those guys.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's what you're doing to I guess to just continue the talk here. Start out with Javon Carter at point guard, put in quickly at shooting guard. Then who else are we playing at the guard slot? Maybe the util spot, Harden, Shaedon Sharpe, Maxey, the Pacers, Nimard and McConnell. And those are your primaries right there, I think. But yeah, definitely starting out with Carter and quickly. Small forward, I don't have anything to say about Middleton that I didn't say on FanDuel. I think he's just a rock solid, safe play and underpriced. So I guess I did have something else to say. Put him in at small forward, put Little in at power forward, and there's like your first four. Other guys that you'll be looking at for the forward slot or the util spot, Bobby Portis, 5'6", Jalen Smith, now that he's starting. Let's see, Noora at 4'9", and then spin ups would be like Anthony Edwards at 8'8". He's listed questionable, so you want to make sure you have something going there. I'm trying to think. I can see if you have him in forward slot or util slot. If you just have him in forward slot, I see an easy pivot to Ingram at the same time frame. If for some reason it gets ruled out, but I think he's going to play. Randall now at 9'3". I think he's a good spin up. But the primaries would be Middleton, small forward, Little, power forward, and then probably Jalen Smith in the Portis group. And then center, this is difficult to talk through because there are some really, really good plays, and a lot of them are only center eligible. Eubanks is who I had tagged earlier in the day, and I just untagged him, I don't know, within the last 30 minutes or 45 minutes, strictly because other stuff had opened up, like Isaiah Jackson, but now he's down because he's not starting. So I think Eubanks is going to be my priority here. And then you also have Portis, you also have Jalen Smith, but then you have Brolo at 6'4". It could be like it's a Jokic spin up slate at 11'4". I think he's very much in the consideration for cash. I had been landing on Harden more just because of the guard. Like there wasn't a ton popping at the guard spot, and there was a ton of good centers. So like that's the only reason I would say right now I'd go Harden over Jokic. But man, if you have something you like with Jokic, go for it. I think that's all the guys I want to mention.
And it feels like we got room for a spend up, right? Like somebody, whether you're talking
Middleton, Harden, and then somebody, yep.
Right. Like a Luka, like a spend up now that this new value's opened up.
Yeah, I need to build again with quickly, to be honest. When the pre-Brunson news, I didn't think you needed to go that high.
Mm-hmm.
I will, while TJ's talking, I'll build again and see where I'm landing. But yeah.
And where do you think Randall?
It's an easy one to fit him.
Yeah, and where do you think Randall falls in the equation now, where maybe he's just as good a spend up as those super expensive guys now? Like, does that help that much with Brunson out or no?
I think he's going to project I think he should project really well. I don't know where he's going to land with all these other spend ups. If I'm looking just at our what if, and I don't know if they'll tinker with this when they do the official upload, but he's going to project slightly below like Harden from an RG value perspective. He's going to project slightly below Jokic from an RG value perspective, but he's also $2,100 cheaper. So like that's my guess. He's going to be like right below Harden as far as spend up priorities.
Gotcha. Okay. And then one last question. Someone said, all right, so quickly or Sharp, and you're in team quickly over Sharp, but you still love Sharp, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to be in team play them both.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite team to be on.
Yes, that's always the right option when you're choosing between two great plays. Like
then I don't look stupid if something goes wrong.
Right. Okay, well let's go, TJ. Let's talk about a little GPP action here on DK.
This slate is so wild and so much fun. Before we get into the specific plays, I feel like it's just kind of important to mention on an 8-game slate like this, where we've had so much news and so much news throughout the entire day. Stevie talked about it, that this slate has changed so many times. It's been totally different slates at different points throughout the day. The most important thing you can do in tournaments at this point is just make sure you're on the ball with all of this news. At this point, if you're playing close to a highly projected lineup and getting different in one way, that's good enough. That is all you need to do at this point, because it's not like we've had this same slate throughout the entire day and you're going to have to find crazy ways to get different. Like, we don't know for sure who is going to be the chalk, because it was Milwaukee earlier in the day, then it was Indiana, and then this Indiana news completely, the starting lineup completely changed, and then New York ruled out Jalen Brunson, and then obviously we still have all this Portland value. So you can still focus on those teams and get in your priorities from those games, and that's all you got to do. You don't got to get crazy different today. There's been so much craziness that all you got to do is just find your priorities from those teams to get them in. In each of my lineups today, I have an Indy player, a New York player, a Milwaukee player, and a Portland player in every single one of my lineups today. At the guard position, my highest exposure is going to be Emmanuel Quickly. Then actually after that, it's Luka Doncic I have right in the next tier, with TJ McConnell and Javon Carter, all of them getting around 40% of, with then the rest of my guard positions being filled with James Harden, Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul, from a tournament standpoint. And then at shooting guard, that's where I'm trying to get a lot of Sharp. Because of how much I like the point guard position today. A guy like Sharp, I just have him exclusively playing at the shooting guard position because it's so much weaker. And so I'm going to have about 35-40% of him there at that spot. And then after Quickly and Sharp there, I'm just differentiating Mathurin, Keon Johnson, Andrew Nembhard, and then some spend ups, Devin Booker, Tyrese Maxey, Kyrie Irving, making sure I get those types of guys in there as well. I think Maxey is an interesting tournament play today as a pivot off of James Harden. Harden's going to have a lot of ownership. I don't hate the idea of going to Maxey instead. Middleton only has small forward eligibility on DraftKings. You can't play him at shooting guard, and he's also more expensive here where we have a lot more value. So I'm more comfortable getting underweight on him in tournaments. Now, that was kind of my plan. And now that ownership has adjusted and he's going to be around 30% owned, I have about 35. So I'll probably be pretty close to the field there. Nasir Little is a guy I'm going to try and get even with, but the one I'm going to be most heavily overweight on is Jordan Nwora. We're projecting him for 20% ownership right now. I'm getting a 60% Jordan Nwora. That's he's going to probably end up being my second most highly owned play today after Jalen Smith. And then in tournaments, I still really like Keon Johnson in that Portland game. I like RJ Barrett as a pivot off of Emmanuel Quickly today. Brandon Ingram in tournaments, I think, is a great play. And then somebody like a Kawhi Leonard, I think, is interesting for tournaments as well. He's somebody earlier that I was getting about 20% of. But now since we've gotten this New York news, I find myself getting to a lot more of a guy like Julius Randle at the power forward position. So at the power forward, it's Nwora and Jalen Smith at both about 60% owned for me. Nasir Little is going to be close as well. And then the 30% range is Bobby Portis and Julius Randle. And every other player I have is just in like the 5-ish% range. Kawhi Leonard, Aaron Nesmith, Kyle Anderson, O'Shea Brissett, Tobias Harris, and then even a couple of guys like Najee Marshall and Kevin Knox in tournaments who just could get extended minutes in a blowout ugly game. And if they do, could put up over 30 fantasy points. And then at the center position, probably the most important position to figure out of the day, Jalen Smith is my highest owned, followed by Drew Eubanks. And then I'm looking to get a lot of Nikola Jokic today. I'm getting a ton of value, so I'm looking to run it back with Jokic. I got almost 30%. Brooke Lopez is another guy I really like in tournaments. I do still think you can get to Isaiah Jackson in tournaments. I think he's a very interesting tournament salary saver. I just wouldn't want to play him and Jalen Smith in the same lineup. And then in tournaments as well, I do like a guy like Rudy Gobert, Jonas Valanciunas, Domantas Sabonis, and the guy we talked about earlier, Roth, Christian Wood, I'm getting almost 10% of today.
Okay, excellent stuff. Guys, we've got about 15 minutes, means I assume maybe some new projections came in. on some of the latest things you were looking at? Is there anything that's changed since TJ started going?
No, just clarify. Love quickly. Really like what Randall as a spend up. I tagged quickly, and then especially on DK, I really like Randall.
Okay, I've seen some. Taylor says Red Velvet ? Excellent. I have no idea who the hell Red Velvet is.
I'm pretty sure that's Herder. I suck at nicknames.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that one's new to me. But that would be a great nickname for a redhead. So, good. Yeah, I approve of the nickname.
Red Velvet balled the other night, but his price came up, and I believe that was when Fox was out. So I would be careful.
Okay, gotcha. Noted. All right. Anything we want to go through, or shall we take a few QQs?
Let's take some QQs. Then we'll probably be done, and we can just shoot the shit afterwards, right before our lock even starts. We can just work on our lineups.
Look at you see this GIF we got going here. Game blouses. Yeah, let's get it done here. We'll dive into it. Of course, I am starting as always with the RG Discord. If I take all the questions there, I'm going to jump into the YouTube. Usually that happens. Jorge or George says, "Hey, what about Kyrie? Is there any interest in Kyrie? I don't think so." And I thought Luka was supposed to be suspended because he got the tech. Did they rescind that?
They sure did. Yeah.
They rescinded the tech earlier when we originally got the Luka news. I was like, I have no interest in Kyrie Irving, but now because of how many Pacers I'm playing today, that just ups my interest in Kyrie Irving in tournaments as a run back.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I thought that was going to be a hard no from literally everyone, but interesting note. Okay. I'm going to scroll up a little bit on the on the Discord here. Let's see. FanDuel GPP TJ, can you rank your top 3 studs and your top 3 duds? Not duds, but rather scrub plays that you actually like. This is a FanDuel question. Favorite 3 spend ups, favorite 3 cheapies.
Favorite 3 spend ups are going to be Luka 1, Jokic 2, and probably on FanDuel, I don't know if it is Julius Randle, even though he's priced up. Those are the top 2. It's going to be Luka and Jokic to me going all the way up. And then my third favorite, honestly, is probably a guy like Brandon Ingram at 9K. I really like him in tournaments today. And then in terms of value plays, my favorite is probably... Let's go Nasir Little 1, Javon Carter 2, Drew Eubanks 3.
Okay, I saw this question in the YouTube chat, and I love it from Jonathan.
Actually, sorry, Jalen Smith 1, Nasir Little 2, Jordan Nwora 3.
Meansy, you okay over there, bud? What's up?
Just found the lineup. I got it now.
You got it locked in. You got to dial.
Yeah, we'll look back tomorrow and be like, "Yep, that's when he get it." Yep, that was it.
Okay, yeah. Clip this right here for when Meansy's like cash lineup wins the GPPs. This was the moment when it happened. Jonathan says, "Hey, can you play Randall and Quickly together in cash?" The answer is not only can you, but maybe you should. Right? You got no issues with it. Means right?
Correct.
And in GPPs, TJ, is that an issue? Randall and Quickly together, and if you're doing it, do you have to run it back or no?
No, just because the amount of value and high scoring potential we have on this slate, like,
they're against Houston, right?
Exactly, and they're against Houston. So if Houston happens to keep this close, like it could be done with 5 different players, whereas it could be done with the scoring could be done with by 2 players on New York today. And so I have no issue playing them together. I'd probably only want to play max 2 of Barrett, Quickly, and Randall, but I don't mind playing 2 of them together.
Okay, very good. Carolina guy says, "Hey, was I an idiot?" This is the question that I saw I was tagged in earlier. I didn't get a chance to read it. Was I an idiot for screenshotting my single entry win on Friday? Hell no. If you get a win and you're watching this show, you screenshot it, you tweet it, you tag us. We love that. So no, you are not an idiot whatsoever. We certainly appreciate anytime you guys do that. No Nwora. Anyone have any interest in Nwora? And then the next question means DK Cash, Harden or Randall?
I do like Nwora just as below a couple other guys I like better. B, That is really difficult on DK. I kind of think the answer is Randall, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I get it. Will Luka get another tech, even though they rescinded it? They were like, oh, it's okay, we love you. Will he get another one and still get suspended before the playoffs? Yes or no?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes. And I want to say quick that Nwora is my third highest owned player.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very good. Very good note. All right. Where are we here? DK Cash from Fit Crooks means this is a 3v3 Harden, Eubanks, Ingram, or Jokic, Lopez, Mathurin.
Ask that again because I forgot about Eubanks.
Yeah, it was Harden, Eubanks, Ingram, or Jokic, Lopez, Mathurin.
I think the second one is slightly safer.
Okay. Do you think either of them are the right cash build for what it's worth?
I didn't land on either of them personally, but they're all like players that were in the pool.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. DKGPP TJ coming at you. Middleton Booker or Portis Luka?
Portis Luka.
You gotta. AJ DK Cash means Eubanks and Ant or Smith and Randall.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at. I like the Randall one.
Who's Smith? I'm sorry, I'm missing.
Jalen Smith, the guy who's starting
Smith.
for the Pacers at center instead of Jackson. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I don't like about when I had my little aha moment about 3 minutes ago was that there's no Eubanks in it. But yeah.
Okay.
I like both, but I would do the Smith one.
Okay. Let's see here. DK Cash. I feel like we're kind of honing in on things. Sharp Lopez or Eubanks Ingram?
Of that one, I would do the Sharp one.
Okay, very good. Hey, Roth, are starting pitchers safe for Thursday? Oh, Jesus, no. God, no. No. Just please. I haven't looked. I haven't even thought about it. I can't believe it's so soon. I could look and actually have a decent idea, but I just don't want to. I don't want to know. FanDuel Cash means 3v3. Harden, slow-mo, Brolo. I like the way that one flows. Harden, slow-mo, Brolo, or Luka, Portis, Jalen Smith.
It's tough to not answer the first one after how good that came off the lips. Yeah, I'm going to go the first one.
Yeah, all right. DK Cash, Little or Jalen Smith?
Oh, I would play Little instead of Jalen Smith for sure. Yeah.
Let's see. Sean says Herter or Melton, FanDuel GPP?
Herter, Melton. I'd go Herter.
Okay. Grimes says FanDuel Cash means Anderson, Ingram, or Sabonis, Mathurin, FanDuel Cash?
First one.
Okay. Easy enough. This is a DK GPP question, and it is McCollum and Ingram, or do I switch out quickly or switch out quickly for Randall? Oh, no, it's a 2v2. I don't know why the hell it was worded that way. Let me try that again. McCollum, Ingram, or quickly Randall?
Quickly Randall.
All right. And Luke, it's not your fault. I just did a crappy job reading that. Aside FanDuel Cash means 3v3. Murray, Nwora, Jalen Smith, or Carter, Ingram, Little?
Second one.
Mike says FanDuel GPP. Can you play Quickly and McBride together in a FanDuel GPP? Says that is where I am landing at point guard.
I have 150 lineups and 0 McBride.
Okay. DKGPP, is it crazy to like Kyle Anderson more than Middleton tonight? It sounds absolutely asinine to me, but this is a GPP question, and Middleton always lets me down. Is it crazy? TJ in a GPP?
Oh, in a GPP. Sorry, I thought that was to means. No.
Kyle Anderson.
I don't think that's
over
crazy.
Middleton.
I still like Middleton better, but no, I don't think it's crazy if you have a somewhat chalky rest of your lineup. My bad there.
No, you're all right. Good to note. Let's see. Beaner says, any interest in Chicago players in a FanDuel GPP?
No.
Okay. FanDuel, I've already got $3 with no Pistons. Well, this is a GPP question. I got $3 with no Pistons. I've got 4,800 left at point guard. Should I, wait for it, play P-Bev over Carter for roster construction purposes? Oh, dear God.
No.
No. Just a hard no. We got about 3 minutes until lock. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button for us, guys. DK GPP, Smith Harden or Jackson Booker?
Smith Harden or Jackson Booker? I would still go Smith Harden, but like Jackson Booker is a great pivot for tournaments. It's just make sure you're only doing it with an entry fee you're comfortable losing. Like, don't bet your entire single entry bankroll on that. It's a very interesting, very high upside tournament pivot, but it's much, much riskier.
Okay, good note. Another DK GPP question. Jumping into the YouTube real quick. Mark Sanchez says, Maxey Trey Murphy or Harden Eubanks?
Harden Eubanks.
All right. Gator Nation pointing out it's going to be 45 degrees at Wrigley on Thursday. Give me the under. Ooh. Give me the under right now. Just lock it in. It will.
The under's 5.
It might honestly be. I was gonna say, the line might be like 6, and I still want the under for what it's worth. Coos says DK Cash means TJM. I feel like that one already lost. But McConnell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, my bad. I was thinking the Mavs guy. You know who I'm talking about. Hardaway Jr.
Tim Hardaway? Yeah.
I was thinking THJ.
You got your acronyms messed up, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, TJM, Brolo, and Jokic versus Randall, Harden, Jalen Smith.
Yeah, I just like the second one better. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Expert opinion, Harden Portis versus Maxi Brolo, single entry FanDuel. Both of you get to answer. Means you can go first. Harden Portis versus Maxi Brolo.
Oh, I mean, I think the non-Portis Harden one is just such good leverage in single entry. I think that's a great single. Doing the Brolo one's a great route in my opinion.
TJ?
I typed that in chat too in case we didn't get to it. Basically said the same thing.
Very nice. Okay. FanDuel Cash means Gobert or Brolo?
I would go Brolo.
J Sam's FanDuel GPP's Little or Mathurin?
Mathurin.
Okay. Scrolling down a wee bit here. Wow. Jawan Holt with the hot take of the day says PJ Tucker going for 40.
40 minutes played and no fantasy points?
Yes. Has PJ Tucker ever gone for 40? Has that ever happened?
Apparently they just ran TJ out of the room with the PJ Tucker take.
Yeah, TJ was like, I've had enough. This has been a ridiculous show as it is.
We don't play PJ Tucker on a slate with this much value. Come on.
Yeah, well, come on now. We can't do that. Less than a minute until lock.
Yeah,
let's see.
I'll beg for likes after.
DK Cash 3v3 means Harden, Portis, Middleton, or what did we just get this question? Or McConnell, Brolo, Jokic?
First one.
Very good. Steve-O, this is maybe my favorite question of the night. What's the big news that's left? Is it just Edwards? Is there any news that we need to be noting?
It's probably Markkanen and Edwards. And the Markkanen's missed like 2 or 3 games in a row, so the guys' prices are kind of starting to correct themselves. So, yeah, it'd probably be Edwards.
Okay. Lynchpin in the chat. This is my bad. He says, okay, I always try to make sure I don't do this. But he goes, WTF is a Brolo. That's Brooke Lopez. That's my bad. I always try to make sure that everybody knows. Sometimes we use these nicknames and acronyms, like just assuming everybody knows who we're talking about. But
at least that has his name in it. Like Slow-Mo could just be like, who the hell knows? Yeah.
Some of them are just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
Slow-Mo's high. Roth mispronounces them
the cousin of Brolo.
That's true. Yeah. There's the ones that like your boy Gobbert. They're like,
yeah. J-Roo.
Speaking of, McGruber got ruled out tonight.
Oh, another great example. There you go.
Now the slate sucks.
Yeah, it's all over now. Red Velvet, another example of
producer behind the scenes. Can we get some McGruber gifts up in here if you're going to do Chappelle also?
It's such a
midnight
random
perfectly.
reference. We can't even find MacGruber gifts. They don't even exist. It's
What?
so obscure. Let's see.
When he gets his third throat rip and says like, that's the turkey of throat rips, he's like, gobble, 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 gobble.
I've actually never seen the movie, but now I want to.
Oh my god, it's really
It's a
funny.
classic comedy film.
Oh man. After
you've had your 7 Pacifico, you should throw that sucker on the TV and you will love it. Well,
so right now,
I would
you want me to
hope
watch
you
it
would
right
love
now?
it. Yes. Yes.
There we go. Dean says, quick question. Who's the Polish hammer? I feel like I should know that.
Marcin Gortat.
Yeah, Marcin Gortat.
Oh, nice.
Is he like giving trivia out for free premium or something?
We've got nickname trivia.
6 likes away from 100. We got to get this up there.
We're 6 likes away from 100, so let's make sure. I'm just increasingly convinced I need to watch this movie here.
Oh man, there's so many lines I want to drop right now, but I keep forgetting it's free.
Yeah. We can't drop F-bombs. Shouldn't drop F-bombs on the YouTube. Hey, Lynchpin says, is Grimes a decent play? Grimes?
I think he's somewhat in play if you're MMEing, but that's about it. His price has gone up. He's not the same like 3.4K punch he was before.
Gotcha. All right. We got a little post-lock question coming in, and we might bounce after that. For FanDuel Cash, where would you have gone? So it's already too late, but we like to help people out post-lock too. It means FanDuel Cash, Barrett, Markkanen, Jalen, or Harden, Mathurin, Slow-Mo.
I for sure would have gone the second one.
Okay, well, hopefully that is what we decided. With that, we are going to get on out of here. So for TJ, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.